All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. But we're going to have a show.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Across America and the world, we are on. Yes, we come to you from all of these magnificent locations in the USA. In the East, where's my East Coast? Shout out to the East Coast. We're 2 to 4 on the East Coast live if you're joining us. 2-ish we start. And 11 to 1, 11-ish on the West Coast. And then after that, it is whenever you take us in. We love everybody who watches. Most of the world watches us in delay. Those who are joining us live, please participate in the chat. Please participate in any way you want. We love just the interaction we have with our audience. Kim is here, everyone.
Kim, how are you?
Kim has a big following, large following, a firm following, a substantial group of supporters. They are dogged in their love of Kim. If you say anything, if you look askance at Kim in any way, they will come after you. They are jihadists. They will hunt you down. So Kim is their god. Watch it.
Kim, how are you?
Yeah, it's a real thing, man. I'm just saying it. If you so much as say anything about Kim Albert on this show,
why are you yelling?
I will come after you personally because I too love Kim.
Why are you yelling?
Am I making that clear, Albert?
Did you not have your Coachella Valley coffee this morning?
Albert, thank you.
You steam bitter beans. I don't know.
I blame you.
I am quite the contrary.
I
I'm holding my Coachella Valley coffee now in my new Peacefully Resist mug, which is in the
I have my tea, my vanilla
Get Mark
tea.
merch collection. Our logo is on this side.
So good.
And there are several different offerings at getmarkmerch.com. And this is sort of a Peacefully Resist offering. And let me just tell you something today. I've blended the Clarity blend, which is magnificent. As you know, I was over the moon for it. I mean, I think I had almost a problem because I had to have a cup of the Clarity blend in my hand all the time.
Yeah.
So I blended it today with the Ocotillo espresso, and it's pretty perfect.
What?
So, I mean, I'm always experimenting. You know that. I've got
That's a
3
little bit
different
of
burr grinders, and I'm always trying to get it just right.
Like
And
an artist in the kitchen there.
I don't know about that. I'm definitely a chemist. But, I found the greatest coffee on earth, Coachella Valley Coffee. And in a minute, we'll talk to the Roastmaster General, so you'll get a chance to meet Cliff again, for those who don't know him. But he, of Coachella Valley Coffee, they are our longtime sponsor. We love them, and we'd love for you to support them. And the benefit you'll get is the magnificence of their products. So we'll get to that in a second. I also have the professor coming in, John Rothmann, bottom of the hour. We'll talk about the fact that the government has shut down, why the government shut down. Of course, the blame game, to use the phrase that was likely going to be used and we are using, has begun. I mean, Republicans blame Democrats, Democrats blame Republicans. And then, what's underpinning it all? We'll get to that. So I'll give you a little bit of the X's and O's, and then a little bit of where we are in America at this moment. It's a troubling moment, and yet it seems to be a moment that is being handled in almost a superficial kind of non-serious way, I would say, by many in power. So we'll get to that as well. And if you watched or even saw clips of yesterday's huge conference of admirals and generals at Quantico, you maybe get a little bit of what I'm talking about. It seemed almost as though you've flown and brought all these people in from all over the world at tremendous taxpayer expense, incredibly expensive. Not to mention a security risk, et cetera. For what? Something that was about tougher haircuts, no beards, no more Mr. Nice Guy. We're going to have tougher physical standards. We're getting rid of wokeism. It just was and then it was like a TED Talk as Hegseth roamed around the stage and Donald Trump riffed on and off of prompter, then talked about America's cities as perhaps the next training ground for our troops. It was at once disturbing, and also it just felt like a TV show. Like it felt like they brought everybody in just to be like a stock audience for a kind of mediocre TV show. So we'll get to all of that a little bit later, and I'll also to touch on tariffs. There seem to be already Hatch Act violations when it comes to the shutdown and postings. If you don't know what the Hatch Act is, we'll explain it to you or remind you of it again. So there's a lot to get to. Before I get to all the heavy stuff, I want to do something really special because he's not here a lot. And
The Mark Thompson Show.
this guy is, to me, you find special people who are doing special things occasionally in life, and he is one of those people, and he's doing one of those things. He started Coachella Valley Coffee. He runs Coachella Valley Coffee, a business which is underpinned by a lot of really great directives. One of them is that they seed businesses all over the world and help them start the coffee growing business and get into that industry. And then you have a relationship with those businesses. And he's begun that with a lot of women who run these businesses, because as he's told us before, they seem to be the most dependable when it comes to actually following through with the seed money and actually building the business. But more than anything, he's just a wonderful supporter of the show, and we so enjoy being his partner. He is the roast master general, Cliff Young from Coachella Valley Coffee.
Good morning. Good morning.
And
How
you're
are
there
you?
with is that your security that you travel with all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. This is Sim. So if you're ordering online, you'll see Sim's name or Simic all over everything. He kind of runs everything. I'm just here because I'm the pretty one.
Sam.
You know how that is, Mark.
I do. Just to be the hood ornament, it's a great thing. So congratulations on everything. Last time we spoke with you, I think you were expanding into, I want to say, the airport in Palm Springs. There's a Coachella Valley Coffee location, and the Coachella Valley Coffee brand is showing up in more and more places.
Yeah, we've been at the airport for a couple of years. Right during COVID, we moved in, but they built us, our partners out there, built us a new coffee house, and that one just opened. But we're all over. We're in the hockey arena. We're blessed, and we do tennis every year. But we've been busy this summer, even though here in the desert, we slow down as far as selling coffee locally because a lot of the country clubs are closed. I went down to El Salvador and Honduras or Nicaragua and hung out with our coffee farmers, and
Yeah, there it is. I don't know. So, by the way, when you posted some videos, I think. Maybe I just on your social media. There it is. Go down a little bit, Albert. The postings I saw were those that have you in these places, El Salvador and, all these places where they're growing the beans that are curated and then end up in our cups as coffee.
Yep. And this one, you see me standing with Lucia. She's our coffee farmer from El Salvador. One of the best coffees I've ever been able to purchase in the last 32 years. And we've been partners with her for the last 4. On her farm, she has a clinic, and the doctor comes, and he's in one of the pictures with us. He comes 2 days a week, and it's not just for the farm. It's for the surrounding communities. Anybody that needs anything comes there for free medical. And she buys all the meds for that pharmacy. You can see the shelves of the pharmacy. And I said, no, we're going to figure out a way that Coachella Valley Coffee and our supporters can donate. And there's a donate now button right next to these pictures. Donate $5 so we can keep those shelves stocked. It's just basic medications, inhalers, antibiotics, because she doesn't have to keep taking all of this out of her pocket. There's others of us around. And that's part of our mission, is we have to take care of our communities. Ours is just a little bit further out.
That's just terrific. Wow.
Yeah.
And what a great
But we're
way
blessed.
Yeah.
Business is good. We're in the middle of a vendor agreement with Disney. They have a huge new property out here. And it's always nice when they find you and give us a call. And we just picked up a location at one of the casinos. Yeah, we're blessed. And
congratulations, man.
Simic also understands is the more good we put out there, it comes back 100-fold. And that's
one of the wonderful things about you. I mean, It just transcends the product. it's a partnership of message, of morality, of a lot of things that don't necessarily have to do with whatever product. But then, of course, as you say, it all comes together with this wonderful product. So all the information on that, if people want to jump on that donation and help out in that effort, that's there at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com, right alongside a lot of those postings.
Yep, it's on the website. Right. It's very easy to navigate.
Anything else you want to mention? Because we have to leave you, but we love that you made time. It is International Coffee Day, by the way, Cliff. You know that, yeah? It's International Coffee Day.
Yeah. It's one of our favorite days of the year, but it isn't every day National or International Coffee Day here. Hey, I sent over a link. One of our friends, Orny Adams, was shooting a special this month in North Hollywood, and he's going to give us some tickets to give to your people. Your listeners. So I sent you a link, and just tell us how we can make it happen. We're going to he's giving us, I think, 2 sets of 2.
Oh, that's great. Orny Adams is very funny. Yeah.
I think his last special got 7.5 million hits on YouTube. So he's a pretty big boy now, isn't he?
That's terrific. Yeah, no, he's great. He came into KFI Radio in Los Angeles, where I was a couple times, and he's just really, he lights up the room. He's a lot of fun. Oh, that's great. Didn't know about that. That's cool. All right, I'm going to let the Roastmaster General go. You can find all his magic at
so we'll
CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Don't forget our discount code. And again, this just added notion of the work that is being done there in El Salvador as well.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Mark. Thanks all of your listeners.
Thank you. Thank you for making my life better. Really, honestly, thank you.
Oh, that's sweet. Mm-hmm. Sam, you're like Teller in Penn and Teller with you guys. You're very. I like this. You guys show up together, but Cliff does the talking.
Yeah. I'm just here to listen.
All right. All the best, my friend. Thank you. The Roastmaster General, Cliff Young, everybody.
Thank you.
See you, Cliff.
The Mark Thompson Show.
They are doing great work down there. And all right, let me get to some comments quickly, and then I'll get into the heavy stuff. I promise you we'll get right into it.
I have to tell you something that's going to make you sad.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm sorry. They're talking about it in the chat, and I know this is going to be a big thing to you, but Jane Goodall has passed away at the age of 91.
So
I know you have her picture by your bedside table. No joke. So
yeah, I think she's brilliant. Mm-hmm. That is just a... I mean, she was an elderly person, though, who was quite robust in her work.
She was
even in her old, her older years, Mm-hmm. And her work with the chimps, her work with the primates was breakthrough. She was the one who, and you're seeing her now as an older lady. She was this hot kind of researcher, and people didn't take her seriously because she is. She's this, attractive woman in an area of researchers dominated by men. And she's, again, doing work that is documenting the behavioral structure and habits of these primates, right? And so she came through with at least one breakthrough. There was a huge breakthrough, and that was, and documented, the way in which these primates used tools to work, to eat, to do things, I think in one case to extract food from, they used tools, meaning the natural things around them, they used as tools to better their lives or, within their habitat. And that was a breakthrough because it was just never really noted before. And I'm butchering the description of how big a breakthrough it was, but her work was really quite notable indeed. And rest in peace to that wonderful woman. What a legacy of work. And the message she had is the message that we can all sign on to, which is, you have one planet. This is it. And there is no other place. And it's our responsibility to keep it, to conserve it, to sustain it. And those things we do that don't serve that are criminal. And as more and more habitat is destroyed, as more and more fragile environment goes away, and it's clearly greed and destruction that we're responsible for, it's a controllable problem. We can control ourselves. So this rapacious instinct that we have to destroy and develop and disregard that which is so very precious. It was a message that she had, and she told it in a wonderful, beautiful way. She spoke in a wonderful, beautiful way, and it wasn't just finger wagging. It was the
great picture.
celebration. Yeah, that's a great picture. It was a celebration of all that is wonderful about this planet. So that is sad indeed. So rest in peace to Jane Goodall.
Hey, which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Use Mark Thompson.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Well, Kim has totally both brought us up to date and also brought us down to date. So,
I'm sorry.
I blame you.
I had the pleasure to meet Jane when I worked at Google, says West Theory. We added some layers in Google Earth about ape populations back around 08 and 09. That's really cool. Wow, Wes, that's a great story. That's a really good brag, yeah. There was a great Jane Goodall exhibit at the National Geographic. It was one of those exhibits that, came and went after a couple of months, and I happened to be back visiting my parents and saw it, and it was really quite special. Scott Gerd says, in remembrance of my mom, oh my gosh, passed away. My mom is what Scott was saying. In remembrance of my mom who passed away on this day 9 years ago and who loved coffee more than anyone I know. Love you and miss you every day, Mom. Oh, that's so sweet. Gosh, that's beautiful. Oh, yeah. Hi, Cliff and Sim. Love your coffee offerings. Huge fan, says Pamela Kirby. Yeah, big shout out from Pamela Kirby to the Coachella Valley Coffee.
Big shout out.
Yeah. Always cool when they come through, and they came through with the two of them today. Thank you, Coachella Valley Coffee, says Jane. Yeah. Really cool. Well, we've done, Noe Marie says, why not the Noe Clarity blend? Yes, Noe Marie Clarity should have the Noe Clarity blend. Yes, what a great idea. I don't know. I mean, you can pitch it.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
It would work in your house, that's for sure. Yeah. I like that. I owe Noe Marie an email. She wrote a beautiful email, long email. I saw that Kim responded to it, and I put it on the back burner. I can't just bang out a response. I really have to give it a considered response. And then I, of course, haven't had a chance to get to it. So that's something I need to do, and I'm sorry. Kelly Malloy with a $5 super chat, fighting COVID, but I get to watch the Mark Thompson show. That sucks.
Silver linings.
Kelly. I mean, the COVID part. The show, it has some sucky parts, I agree. But hopefully as a whole it doesn't suck. What was the point of Admiral Chella? To hear about being a warrior from a draft dodger or getting grooming and makeup tips from IPA Pete, says Luis. Wow, that's a pretty brutal takedown.
Big shout out.
It's not far from the truth, though. It was the oddest thing, for sure. It really was odd. I'm going to play a couple of clips with Brother Rothman so we can hear a little bit what was going on. But the giant flag behind Trump was proportionally incorrect, says Trevor Starr in Hollywood with a $10 super chat. The blue field is supposed to be a rectangle, and its height is supposed to be 5/7 its width. That one was square.
It was a little Patton-esque, wasn't it?
The whole thing was Patton-esque. The whole thing. Come on, guys. We know what was going on here. It was, it was Patton-esque. It was like General MacArthur. It was it was a performative thing. It all felt like theater because they're all playing theater. The problem is they're playing theater with a terribly serious thing. And that we have the toughest, most brutal, roughest, well-trained, well-equipped military in the world. Yeah, but you don't need to peacock about that. No one's questioning that. And the idea that you're going to wash away wokeism with a speech or even policies, we've already seen the cruelty of the policies, and the cruelty and brutality is part of the game. It's almost an essential element of what they do. So when they came into power, to remind you, they got rid of high-profile women and people of color. Anything that they felt would in any way reflect DEI or wokeism, particularly women. He really went after women, and he did it in a cruel way. Like, literally, like, get all your stuff together and get off the base within 3 hours. These people had done nothing wrong. In fact, their service was distinguished. And we know that because they've risen as women, as people of color, through a system that has favored people who are not women and people of color. I mean, it's sorry, but it's true. It's a system that favors white men. So when you see minorities and minority populations grow through a system that doesn't favor them, you know that they actually have provided evidence of greater excellence often than might be found in those who the system favors. Now, bottom line, though, in terms of the way they were dismissed without cause, essentially, and dismissed cruelly, as I say. Get out of that residence. You can Google it. It's the, she was head of the Coast Guard, I think, the woman I'm talking about. Yeah. They wanted her out of the residence that day. Well, had she committed some traitorous act or something? No. She's a woman, and we don't want women in service in high positions anymore. He's already said, I don't think women should serve in the military in combat positions, and he's on record with wanting women to be essentially pregnant and in the kitchen. That's really the Hegseth doctrine. I mean, you know, the first rule of the doctrine is always have a vodka on hand and ready to go. And the second is get rid of wokeism and DEI. And the third is keep those women out of the workforce and at home where they belong with the babies. I mean, it's such a throwback is to be insulting to throwback position. Anyway, but that's just sort of what informs a lot of what he was doing. But yeah, the whole thing was performative. And I would say this, if you're one of those generals or admirals who is brought in there with their top staff at great expense, you've got to be sitting there going, what the hell is going on here? I mean, this is a MAGA speech delivered by Donald Trump, it seemed almost an insecure, like, discount brand Patton speech delivered by Hegseth, where he's talking about wokeism and DEI and, you know, kept referring to himself, Secretary of War.
Welcome to the War Department.
Yeah. I mean, it's as though they can't wait to play with their tin soldiers. And these people have repeatedly shown to us, and we talk about this on the show repeatedly because it happens repeatedly. It happened in the first Trump administration. Then it happened in Trump 2, just recently in Los Angeles. They treat the military as props in their theatrical performative story. And that's what they did yesterday. They literally brought all of these people in for what was a one-dimensional television show. That's why they were live streaming it. So I'll get more to it. We've got I've got the government shutting down, and I also have, I do want Rothman's thoughts on all of this as well. Thank you for bringing the Jane Goodall news to our attention. And I have a lot of other stuff in the show today, some bizarro, funny stuff. The Supreme Court has clapped back, believe it or not, at their guy, Donald Trump. I'll have that for you in a chunk of Trump. And I also have a Law and Disorder where judges are federal judges are issuing blistering opinions to Donald Trump as well. So I've got Law and Disorder, and I've got Chunk of Trump waiting. Smash the like button like a boss. We're kind of in
with your iron rod.
We're in the primordial ooze of the show. It's coming together now, and with the great one in the wings, I will look forward to talking to the professor next. Mark Thompson Show. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Shadow Stevens. This is the Mark Thompson Show. Keep it to yourself.
He is a lecturer, an author, a researcher, a historian. He's our former colleague from KGO Radio. I notice he's traveling a lot lately. Always hearing,
What?
I'm available for a couple of weeks, but then I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. The wife and I are going to, I mean, that's the one benefit that's accrued to John Rothman since KGO's gone off. He doesn't have to show up to his show every day. Now he can travel the world like he wants to. But his brilliance is something that we take in weekly at this time. He is the great John Rothman. Hello, sir.
Glad to be with you. I just want to remark about Jane Goodall. We had the opportunity to interview her on KGO several times. They were always stunning occasions. And those of you who had the opportunity to hear those interviews know what a great loss it is for the world. She may have died at 91, but to us, she'll always be 19. She was eternally youthful, able, and made such a great contribution. So thank you, Kim, for drawing this sad news to our attention. And I'm glad to remind people that you had the opportunity to hear her on KGO.
I would also say, if you haven't, you ought to see the movie. It's called Jane. It's a documentary. And you'll really get why she was something special. And it's a good watch. It's not like assigned reading. You'll really like it. So it's called Jane, I'm pretty sure. And all about Jane Goodall. All right. I want to start with the government shutdown, and I'll double back to the Hegseth madness that was accompanied by Donald Trump yesterday. Tell me what's happening, John. We've really seen a total shutdown in government, and this is something that happened twice in the first Trump administration as well.
Yeah, this is somewhat of a nefarious plot that I'm going to suggest to you. Although Donald Trump and the Republicans protest they don't want a shutdown, I believe they do. Because when there's a shutdown, the power of the president to lay people off, to fire people, is expanded tremendously. And so I think what the Trump administration is doing is taking advantage of an opportunity to club the Democrats, even though they don't deserve it, and to enhance the power of the president once again. So to me, this is one of the saddest moments, because I think the Democrats have got themselves boxed in. They can't open the government, given the stands they've taken. And on the other hand, they know that by doing this, Donald Trump is the big winner, at least for the time being. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and also when you say Trump, yeah, you're really making glancing reference to the Project 2025 guys, Russell Vogt, who runs OMB, and he's referenced, as you suggest, specifically laying people off. There'll be 750,000 workers, roughly.
That's part of the plan.
Furloughed.
I don't believe this. I listened to J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, and I've really studied the Vice Presidency. I'm something of an expert on the Vice Presidency, and I can tell you, I've never been more ashamed to hear a Vice President of the United States standing in the White House delivering a press conference. By the way, the tip-off today was they removed the presidential seal and put the vice presidential seal right there. If you want my observations about what happened yesterday, I watched the whole thing.
Wait one second. Go back to the presidential and vice presidential seals. Where did they remove? What do you mean?
The podium from which J.D. Vance spoke contained, for this particular event, the vice presidential seal.
I mean, isn't that appropriate since he's the vice president?
Yeah, but it's not normal. It's not a normal process, at least in my memory. Generally, if a vice president is at the White House, they use the normal White House accoutrements.
Albert, play me a little J.D. Vance. He was on CBS this morning, trying to justify and rationalize any number of things that are going on under this regime in America. And I think we can almost needle drop it and see what he says. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, Tony. Thanks for having me. I mean, first of all, why are we in this position? We're in this position because Senate Democrats decided that they were going to shut down the government, despite the fact that the House voted to keep the government open. And I have to be honest, Tony, it's actually not all Senate Democrats. To their great credit, a number of moderate Democrats voted with Republicans to keep the government open last night. Unfortunately, it was one faction of one branch of government, the far left faction of the Senate Democrats, who decided to shut down the people's government. And to your point about what's going to happen now, there are critical essential services that the people rely on that are going to suffer because of this. There are people who benefit from low-income food programs, families like mine who benefited from those programs, who are going to see those programs disappear. There are people, of course, who are flying today should know that if their flight is delayed, I hope it's not, but it may have something to do with the fact that our TSA agents and our air traffic controllers are no longer getting paid. Our military is no longer getting paid. There are critical services that the Democrats have taken hostage because they have a policy disagreement that they are open to work with us on, but they shouldn't be shutting the government down because of that policy disagreement. Now, you asked about mass layoffs. We don't want to lay anybody off, but what we do want to do is make sure that as much of the essential services of government remain functional as possible. We were sort of dealt this hand by that faction of Senate Democrats who shut down the government. We're going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to make sure that as much of the people's government remains open or functional as possible. Yeah. That's what we're going to do, but there's going to be some pain. And there's necessarily going to be some pain because Senate Democrats refuse to reopen the government. We hope that they'll change their minds in the days to come.
This is going to be some pain. There's going to be some pain. You have to understand there's going to be some pain, and it's all because of Senate Democrats.
And it's not a faction of the Democratic Party. The Republicans have not been negotiating in good faith. We understand that very clearly. So does J.D. Vance. But this becomes a campaign issue, and it also gives Donald Trump the opportunity to lay off federal workers again, and even, we are told, to shut down various programs that he wants to shut down, and he doesn't have the votes to shut down. So all I can tell you is this is a sad day for America. And remember,
I mean, if this goes on long, in a couple of months, the healthcare pinch is really going to be felt. You know, the kind of the tax subsidies, which is what this is about. I mean, you could say this is about a lot of things. I mean, you could argue with this regime about the takeover of American cities. You could argue with this regime about the unlawful way in which people are being discharged from government, the way that the Justice Department is being weaponized, and that prosecutions are being cooked up against Trump's adversary. You could argue all those things, but the way the shoe pinches here on this piece of legislation to keep the government open, it is about these tax credits that are associated with Medicare, and the complete lie, as long as you mention lies, that somehow the Democrats are trying to keep the subsidies going that go to illegal immigrants who are getting, which is rubbish. Utterly absurd.
It's rubbish.
Illegal immigrants don't get any government subsidies or federal monies whatsoever.
It's rubbish. I mean, the problem is that when you stand in the White House and you spew these falsehoods, there is nobody really to check it. And that's the problem. By the way, did you listen this morning? Who did J.D. Vance call on for questions? His right-wing plants that now occupy the press room in the White House. I mean, I find myself incredulous that we have allowed this to go this far. And I believe not only will Donald Trump pay the price, but I think the Republicans are going to pay the price for years to come.
You're also going to see a lot more of J.D. Vance because Trump is starting to flag. He's starting to flag mentally. He's starting to flag physically. He's struggling. And the more that happens, I think you're really going to see a little less Trump and a little more Vance.
I won't disagree with it. If you listen to the rambling discourse that Donald Trump gave yesterday in Quantico, I must tell you it was a disgrace. And by the way, you heard the latest move. You know, the Democrats achieved a victory in a special election in the House. And if that House elect member is seated, the Epstein material will immediately, they'll vote on it. The Republicans won't swear her in until it's a regular session of the House. But despite the fact that Republicans have been sworn in when it's not in-house session, what the Republicans are doing is, I want to use a very careful word, it's nefarious. And it's dangerous. And it's something we need to be exposing And I'm delighted to say, Mark, that you do that, and that's very constructive.
Well, thank you. I think that there is never enough light that can be shown on this sort of thing. That said, I don't know that the spin doesn't exist so effectively in the siloed ways in which we get information. It doesn't matter. Can you, Albert, run a little wrap package for Brother Rothman on yesterday's, it was theater, as they called admirals and generals at Quantico, a tremendous taxpayer expense, incredibly expensive.
800 military officers.
And you're getting them all there, and you're wondering, what is this? Is this a loyalty test? Is it is it some kind of,
No, it was, because they said if you don't like it, just get up and leave.
In a sense, it was. But in another sense, it was paper thin and performative and just like another MAGA pep rally once Donald Trump got up there.
Oh, by the way, I noticed
and that's largely, I'll just quickly finish just to say this, that's largely the result, I think, of his diminished mental acuity. In other words, I think he defaults to the stuff that he knows, and he kind of knows bash Biden, stolen election. He's on repeat, and then he goes back to the prompter. He really is, he's a little bit pull my string, and I'll say what you've heard a million times.
Well, I think that's true. But it's also true, I saw an observation in the chat that the question about no applause. Military people do not applaud during these kinds of events. And I'm not talking about this event, which was unique in American history, but in general. The military, you'll even notice during the State of the Union speech, where members of the military are present, they express no opinion. And that's why there was limited applause yesterday. And
Go ahead, Albert. Run the piece, if you would, please.
Yeah.
Pentagon Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth declaring the shift from woke to warrior.
This morning, new reaction to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's unprecedented speech to hundreds of military officials.
If the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign.
Hegseth announcing changes in military policy, including grooming and fitness standards.
The era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
He's essentially going to put in place that all the services have put in place 2 annual fitness tests, not 1. He thinks that improving physical fitness is something that is going to make the U.S. military more lethal.
As for ground combat roles, which women have been performing for more than a decade, the quote, high male standard will now be the norm.
I don't want my son serving alongside troops who are out of shape, or in combat unit with females who can't meet the same combat arms physical standards as men.
The secretary also saying the rules of engagement meant to protect civilians have become too politically correct.
We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country.
President Trump taking the stage after Hegseth, warning of threats from within and suggesting U.S. troops be deployed domestically.
America is under invasion from within.
Trump also proposing U.S. cities themselves could be used as training grounds.
We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military.
California Governor Gavin Newsom responding, saying declaring war on our nation's cities and using our troops as political pawns is what dictators do. Those in the audience showing little reaction, in line with the military's code of apolitical discipline. But some in the room are now speaking out anonymously. One defense official saying the event was more like a press conference than briefing the generals, adding that it could have been an email. Another calling it a total waste of money.
When I spoke to several officials at the Pentagon, they seemed, some of them were asking, why did this have to happen? Why couldn't this have been done via remote to link? Why did these generals have to come in from all over the world to essentially hear this kind of message?
One Republican staffer saying the speech looked more like political theater than addressing serious challenges. But many Republican lawmakers praising the speech. Senator Lindsey Graham saying it is a breath of fresh air to see a commander-in-chief expressing unending pride in our military and being strong without apology. In another move, Hegseth is also vowing to overhaul the Pentagon's Inspector General's office, which is investigating him for the alleged leak of military attack plans on a secure messaging app.
We are overhauling an Inspector General process, the IG, that has been weaponized. putting complainers, ideologues, and poor performers in the driver's seat.
Hegseth also ordered a review of the Pentagon's restrictions on hazing, suggesting the restrictions get in the way of achieving high standards.
I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, the things basically that he's doing, you can thank you, Albert. The things that he's doing, Brother Rothman, and I'll let you speak here, associated just with the last couple of things that were mentioned, the IG, you're getting rid of the Inspector General, of course, because you're being investigated. On that Signal Chat app. And then you're getting rid of these hazing restrictions, which have actually killed people because you want to bring back a sort of frat boy mentality to military service. And the last thing I'll say is the military does reflect the kind of plurality that is America. You have Latinos, you have blacks, you have whites, you have people of all faiths, you have atheists, you have the whole reflection of what America is. And the notion somehow that you can wash that all out, I think it's massively concerning just from a security standpoint.
Look, Mark, thank you, first of all, for playing that clip. Anybody who listens to that clip understands precisely the concerns that we have. What Donald Trump is doing, what his administration is doing, is dangerous for America and dangerous for democracy. And I make no apology for saying that. I do want you to know that I want to commend the elected officials in the state of Oregon who are now going to court to try to prevent Donald Trump from weaponizing our American cities, using American troops in major American cities, which is a violation of the law. And let me tell you, a lot of us wonder about the Supreme Court. In the next several weeks, there will be major decisions relative to the power of the president. And I must tell you, we must all hope that the Supreme Court comes through. I'm watching two justices. I'm watching, without any question, the Chief Justice, John Roberts, who is only one among the numbers. And I'm also watching Amy Coney Barrett, because those two seem at this point to be the only ones who will stand up to this. But, Arthur Schlesinger Jr. wrote a book called The Imperial Presidency about Richard Nixon. Believe me, as somebody who knew Richard Nixon and worked on the staff, what Donald Trump is doing is in violation of every ethical norm in this country. One other quick point. I'm sure you can pull up the fact that the Trump family has made billions of dollars since the inauguration on January 20th. It is an absolute shanda. It's a shame that such a thing is happening in this country. It is corruption to the nth degree. I've offered to teach a class in 10 years at the University of San Francisco Fromm Institute on the corruption of the Trump administration. I think there will be volumes written about it.
Well, there's no question what you're talking about is largely the result, at least in the way in which billions have been dumped into the Trump family and Trump coffers. It's had to do with crypto. But more on that maybe for another conversation. I also wanted to talk to you about Trump himself, who spoke yesterday at that same kind of TV show. I think the idea somehow that this could have been done on a Zoom, on an email. Kim and I were talking about that prior to the event. Then as kind of the event had this anticipation and aura built up around it, we thought, well, maybe I don't know what's going to happen there. Maybe they do need everybody there in person. It seems like to just fly in the face of realities when it comes to technology. You can bring everybody in from everywhere without having to actually bring them in. But in the end, it was just completely superficial, and it was Hegseth peacocking around the stage, and then Trump came on. Play a little bit, just a couple of clips, if you would, Albert, of Trump. This is just a couple, just to give you the flavor.
Where it looks like a war zone. They're brave in our inner cities, which we're going to be talking about, because it's a big part of war now. It's a big part of war. The radical left Democrats, what they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, because we're going into Chicago very soon.
And this is just, to me...
appalling, shocking, horrifying.
And I think it would land the same way with that crowd. In other words, with those admirals and generals. They know that that's That's lunacy.
And may
And
I
they know
say-
that they know he's not a serious person.
He talked about San Francisco. I live in San Francisco. I work in San Francisco. I am scared for the future of my city. And Daniel Lurie, the mayor of San Francisco, offered mild criticism without ever mentioning Donald Trump's name. And I think it is important to point out that Donald Trump represents a threat, an existential threat and a practical threat, not only to San Francisco, but to Portland and Memphis and, frankly, the United States of America. One other quick comment. I don't know if you heard this morning. They have cut aid or money that was supposed to go to New York City because they believe Mondami will become the next mayor. Now, I'm no fan of Mondami, but I want everybody to understand he is not a communist. And they keep calling him a communist. And now they're cutting aid to New York. And Mayor Adams has decided not to run for election, which leaves an opening, if you will, that theoretically could be filled by Cuomo. But I talked to friends in New York who'd say to me, we won't vote for Cuomo. He's corrupt and what he did was wrong. So it looks like New York is going to end up with a mayor. And let me tell you something. If
It looks like New York is going to end up with Mamdani, is what you're saying.
Right. And if that were to happen, you can be sure the cut, which was just announced today by the Trump administration to New York, will be extended and extended and extended. And New York is going to have serious, serious problems. Do you remember, I know this is stretching both of our memories, when the headline of a New York newspaper was "Drop Dead New York," and that was when Gerald Ford was president.
Ford to New York, drop dead.
Yeah,
was the headline.
I mean, you see, some of us have historic memory, but it's the same thing is going to happen now. And may I say, just to be clear, I'm not a fan of Mondami, not by any stretch of the imagination. There are things he said which I object to profoundly, but I want you all to be aware that for a president of the United States to threaten New York in the way that is happening now is just above what we ought to be experiencing. But
well, the point
it's
and the
just
way
normal.
we
It's normal with Trump.
I'm glad you mentioned it because it does tie back to what we were speaking of, and that is the war on the American people, the enemy within. I mean, he spoke of it as though it was some piece of poetry that he had just learned. The idea somehow that the problem with America and the security risk to America is from the left and the libs, and you can find them in those cities. And he called out the cities. I mean, this is in a speech to the top military brass from all over the world.
It's terrible, Mark. The enemy within is an expression that was used by Joe McCarthy.
Right.
That was used by Roy Cohen. And when I'm teaching a course in January on Edward R. Murrow, and
it was, by the way, just to be pure about it, just to be clear about it, and also for the younger boys and girls, that was directed toward it was during the Red Scare, the communist enemy within. The communists here in America, they're the ones. Yeah.
In the State Department, in the military. All you have to do is Google the Army McCarthy hearings to see the same kind of horrific rhetoric being used. And we rejected it then, and I hope we reject it now. This is something so disturbing, so consequential to the future of this country that, frankly, and I'll tell you this very bluntly, I have trouble sleeping at night because I worry about this.
I agree. I think it's anxiety provoking. I would just say one other thing substantively on Hegseth and Trump, both. First of all, they're both incompetent, right? Hegseth with no record that would even suggest he could run. Well, he tried to run 2 different charities associated with veterans, and they literally fired him off the charities. He ran them into the ground, okay? So now he's running the DOD. I mean, good news for him is no one's keeping track of money.
I want to correct you. I'm sorry. It's not the Department of Defense. It's the Department of War.
Yeah, and he made a big deal out of that. I mean, again, that's all performative. I mean, it's the branding, it's the toughness, it's the again, it's as though it's a show, you know. But
that's right.
But this brings me to my point, which is that from a substantive standpoint, in terms of what should be emphasized, they're both missing the plot. The new world is about technology. It is not about this kind of peacocking across the stage with a kind of swagger as though, mine's bigger than yours, kind of. It's about the technology of war. Many of these wars and some of the more aggressive moves just in the Russia-Ukraine conflict have been associated with drone strikes. The idea somehow that you need bigger battleships and all of these other pieces of hardware, again, that's fighting a war that was over decades ago. Not to say that some of these things as support mechanisms don't need to be there, but the idea that you don't bolster cybersecurity, that's where you should be, and other technologies associated with the contemporary battlefield, I think that these guys missed that boat.
Of course they haven't. Let me also point out that the president evidently is authorizing Tomahawk missiles to be given to Ukraine. And you have pointed out, and properly so, Tomahawk missiles won't win the battle. And the technology that you're talking about is what's going to be critical. But we don't have a president who grasps that. In fact, what Donald Trump is doing, the way he's expressing himself, and you alluded to it earlier, did you listen to that rambling speech? If Joe Biden were president and delivered a speech like that, the Republicans would have said he was out of his mind, incompetent, approaching senility. There's a double standard here. But may I just be clear, Mark? I appear on a lot of media, and I do my podcasts every day, and I lecture a variety of places. I am going to raise the alarm no matter what the consequences, that Donald Trump represents a threat to American democracy. And the reason I'm always happy to appear on this program is not just because you and I agree, but because what you do, as you've demonstrated with the clips you played today, you demonstrate what's before our eyes. And if we don't wake up and really react, we're in trouble. And may I say, the real penalty here, I hope, is paid by the Republican Party. I hope that the Republican Party is compelled to admit what it's doing and why it's doing it. But I know that next week, because it happens every week, there will be more to discuss. And it's true I have to go on vacation, which I do very regretfully because you know how much I miss this. But we'll figure it out, and I will only be gone for a couple of weeks. But I will be here next week. And
thevoicesf.org is where you can find his daily podcast, that Rothman dose of reality that you can get daily. And it's in a bite-sized portion.
And around the political world with John Rothman, which
now is there a difference? But are those two different podcasts? No,
absolutely. Around the political world with John Rothman deals with political commentary. The Voice of San Francisco deals with basically Northern California issues.
Oh,
sometimes
that's great.
there is an integration. It's 10 minutes for both every day. I will be off tomorrow for Yom Kippur. I will not be podcasting. But I want everybody to really to
Are you doing
understand.
anything for International Coffee Day before Yom Kippur? Or because Yom Kippur you have to fast, right? So you can't have anything on Yom Kippur. But International Coffee Day, maybe you could have a little bit of the Coachella Valley coffee. Do you have any Coachella Valley coffee?
Let
it's a
me tell
delicious kind of offering.
You may know, and I don't mean to be a downer. My family was in the coffee business for 100 years. MJB Coffee, one of the major coffee companies in America.
MJB Coffee is your family's business?
Yes, it was.
I didn't even know that.
What?
I keep some things well kept secret.
And this is their new hoax.
No, it's not a hoax.
Fake. That's real.
I've never, I didn't know this. Why wasn't I told this?
I've never seen anything like this.
If I could move this computer into the laundry room, you'd see the whole exhibit we have of MJB Coffee. But I never drank coffee. So I'm not. No, never. I never drink anything caffeinated. So I never enjoyed any soft drinks or any coffee. And
wow.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Yeah, John, are you you hit the bong though from time to time, isn't that right? Yeah.
No. The only bong we get are for these idiots. Remember the bong show? But I do want to say about Coachella Coffee, everything I've heard is it's a wonderful product, and I commend you for your support. And I enjoyed the roaster in chief when he came on.
He is the roast master is wonderful. Well, I'm excited to know this. So your family, part of that the coffee behemoth there in San Francisco, and I thought you're part of the Levi business too, aren't you?
I am Well, my personal situation is such. I am Ahaz, it is true, and
Oh
Branston.
my God! I just
And
can't
Lillian
believe
Paul.
it.
It's fantastic.
You can read my mother's book, The Hawes Sisters of Franklin Street, and reveal the whole family history. I must tell you, when I was on the air, I tried to limit my personal disclosures because I want people to judge me for my own intellect.
Of course. No, I get it.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Although-
Don't even play.
Although I do want you to know that Mark Thompson's father and mother, such remarkable people. Many of you heard me interview his father several times on KGO.
Yeah.
And as I like to say, I never hold the sin.
It was great. I loved it.
Against the children. So you're absolved.
Well, all I can say to you, sir, is have a great vacation. I'm really.
Oh, no, I'm here next week.
Oh,
Do
okay.
not tell me I'm going away sooner.
I'm so impressed. John got a couple of bucks, which is good for you. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all trying to make money. I don't mind it. I mean, it's not like I'm all about it. So
we're in better shape, but I don't think we're in wildly better shape.
Yeah. Is John available? The Surface Spins ones. Yeah. Are you? You get a lot of offers, like attractive gals coming on to you, John, because they know you're a man of means and you're a smart man and.
Let me assure you, in the 38 years that I have been married, I have never looked lustfully at another woman. I
Isn't that
reject
sweet?
Jimmy Carter's position of lust in his heart.
Yeah,
which you
that
may
he gave
recall from
that. He
Playboy.
made that statement in a Playboy interview.
But you know,
well,
so
I'm off. Let me just say that I'm offsetting that because I look lustfully at every woman who walks into the. I'm sorry, Courtney. That's just it is in my heart, though. It's in my heart. No, I will.
Did Courtney hear that? Courtney, did you hear that?
I love my
can't
Courtney.
respond.
Courtney is absolutely the most magnificent person I've ever met. Phineas says Rothman owns David Deli in San Francisco also. Is that right, Rothman?
No. David Apfelbaum, who was the founder of David's Deli, was a close friend. I never had a business interest with him, although I will confess that my older son, Samuel Rothman, sold Samuel's Brownies at David's Deli. And when he was, 8 or 9 years old, he was making $60.
It's never been
a week.
anything like this.
Man.
Yeah.
You are impressive, pal. I had no idea. I got to start being
You've
a
never
little
read,
more.
hold on. You've never read my mother's book?
No, I have
Please-
not. No.
Please take a look. The
I will.
Hawes Sisters of Franklin Street by Frances Branston Rothman.
I am
think
very,
you'll enjoy
very
She
impressed.
also
Well,
did a book-
now I'm even more impressed that you spend time with us.
The only reason I'm here is because you are a friend.
All right.
No, the only reason I'm here is because Mark Thompson does such a great program. He did it on KGO. He's doing it here because I appreciate Mark, and I especially appreciate Kim and all the good work she does. And you are my ability to communicate with so many of the people who miss us so much on
that's
KGO.
sweet.
Remember,
That is true.
October 12th is rolling around, and it was just 3 years ago that the plug was pulled on KGO. And
That is
Mark,
true.
I must tell you, people come up to me and say, "Didn't you used to be John Rothman?" And my answer is the reason I can still be John Rothman is because I have the opportunity and the pleasure of appearing on the Mark Thompson podcast.
Oh, I love a
Support
little
Mark Thompson.
gratuitous suck up at the end. Thank you, John. We love you. Be well, and we'll talk next week. John Rothman, everybody, come on. Bye-bye, John.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Wow, I didn't know. John Rothman's a man of substantial means. Quite impressive. I also wanted to just recognize, you put it up there for a second, but thank you for putting it. Was it Heather who noted it's okay to look at the menu or something like that?
Yeah, her mom's used to say.
My mom always says,
yeah.
just because you're on a diet doesn't mean you can't read the menu.
That's right.
Thank you. That's
right.
exactly it. Right. I mean,
Sometimes the menu is the best part anyway, right?
Ain't that the truth, baby? That is the truth. What Kim just said is so true.
If you go to a cheesecake factory, that thing must be very overstimulating. That thing's like a Bible.
Yeah. And if you're in various places, that menu of life and of potential life mates, that can be like a Cheesecake Factory menu. That's exactly right, Albert. So,
Albert, thank you.
I would say that to Heather's mom's point, it's okay to look, but
No touching.
no touching. Yeah. I have some fairly substantial news that I'd love to knock around on just to get everybody back up to speed. But before I do, I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. I saw Chaplain Fred jumped in with a super chat. We are live every day, 2-hour show, 2 to 4 in the East, 11 to 1 in the West, and across the globe and all of America. Please feel free to jump in live. But more than anything, we love you as you listen in delay. Most people listen after the show has gone off live. But Chaplain Fred said, hi, Mark, Kim, and Albert. So again, this is a live super chat for $10. I wonder if Trump had this big meeting with all of his generals to nuke the hurricanes brewing on the East Coast. Oh, yeah. Remember when he asked about, can we nuke these hurricanes? Gosh, man, I'll tell you what, you're just dealing with a...
It's a wild idea, but it just might work.
All these generals and admirals, many of them went to West Point or, studied military strategy. And here's these morons on stage that just don't know what they're talking about. The whole thing was just embarrassing.
And then you had to travel all that way for that embarrassment.
Yeah.
And, in Donald Trump's case, he really doesn't know anything in the sense that he escaped military service. I mean, actively, aggressively escaped military service during the Vietnam War. And by the way, many people were. I mean, it was, but again, as a child of privilege, he was able to concoct this stuff to get out of military service. But this is a man who has no history of public service at all. And he is sitting there or standing there and telling admirals and generals and leaders of the military worldwide to turn the military on the American population. I mean, it's offensive in the extreme, and we've called it out as such. We call it out as such as he repeats it, but that they had to sit there and listen to that. And then Hegseth, who is a glorified frat brother, he is a fraternity bro all the way, old school, drinker, womanizer, that's all he cares about, paper thin, unqualified, and he's there because he speaks well on television. And so he sets this thing up to be his kind of TED Talk as he stalks the stage and effortlessly delivers this ridiculous frat boy type message to a bunch of admirals and generals, all of them in that room have distinguished history with the military, a distinguished record of work within the military, unlike Hegseth. What you have on stage are those who are concocting ruinous policies for the military, and then they're telling the top military brass about them and essentially saying, hey, you ain't about it, you can get out of here.
Yeah.
Trump is someone who, in his first term, pardoned war criminals, American soldiers. One guy who was Special Forces, I think it was Special Forces, you'll have to, or maybe he was an Army Ranger, you've got to help me on that, but who was firing into a civilian population. He was found guilty of it. Trump pardoned him, and all of a sudden he started showing up on the stump with Trump. So this is the ethos of the guys on stage.
And I don't think you can say that you're pro-military, you're all testosterone and hopped up and, go USA military and then turn around and cut military VA benefits.
Well, isn't that really always the dance here?
I don't know why they're not
thank you for
called
your
out on that
service,
more.
and
Yeah.
then they thank you for your service, and then they just tell you to sit your ass over there. We don't have anything for you. We're cutting your services. I mean, he peacocks, and you'll hear this a lot from this administration about the amount of money spent, and Democrats are to blame for this too. Both parties are loath to vote against military spending because it looks weak. Oh, you're voting against national security? But $1 trillion budget for the U.S. military is a bad brag. You shouldn't brag about the fact that you spend $1 trillion on military. And by the way, most of that money never leaves the Beltway. It's defense contractor back and forth. It's something that's loathsome. And when you actually get a president in who has the balls to trim those military budgets and look for an efficient military, notice DOGE, for all of their efficiency, which was all a fraud anyway, It was just an excuse to go in and fire a bunch of people and dismantle agencies that were investigating Elon Musk. I mean, Google it. You can find it. USAID, EPA. They were all involved in investigations and even penalties, including the IRS, on Elon Musk. He went into all of them in order. But where was the one place which is grossly inefficient that we know is overflowing with inefficiency? It's the Pentagon. But he never crossed the bridge. Not one of those Doge bros crossed the bridge from Washington to Virginia to look into the Pentagon. So we end up with $1 trillion bloated military budget. It's so much of it is waste. And yet, as Kim says, we then orphan those veterans with any benefits. We trim veteran services. And now with a shutdown, good luck. So many veterans who desperately need support from veteran services will go without it. I mean, it's really grotesque. But that's where we are. So I need some happier news, and I do have it, as a matter of fact. So let me just...
yeah. Which one do you use, Mark Thompson?
Bringing me down.
Who's Mark Thompson?
The Mark Thompson Show.
I will tell you this. It didn't take long. Where are my
weed smokers at?
Cannabis, my friends? Cannabis stocks soar after Trump shares a video promoting the drugs used for senior citizens. Cannabis stocks are on their own kind of high. Get it? Yes. After Donald Trump shared a video promoting cannabis used for seniors and Medicaid coverage of CBD products.
So are you saying that the federal government is now backing medical marijuana or marijuana in general recreationally?
Well, I'm saying that Trump is trumpeting that, you'll pardon the expression. And,
yeah.
you know, it's funny, Biden and the Democrats, they sniff around this and they made moves. I thought they should have legalized it. I mean, they should have taken it off of, what is it? What is that called?
Schedule whatever.
Schedule 1, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, they should have taken it off of that because that would have been a bold move. It's widely supported. And I feel as though it would have put the federal government, again, under Democrat control. That was back when Biden was president. I thought it would have put them in conformity, if you will, with what the American public wants. You know, I think, you know, to whatever, Trump's credit, if you want to put it that way. And I mean, I just like to call the balls and strikes, you know, call him out when he's totally out of it. But on this, he's right, you know. So he had a 3-minute long video. It was posted on his social media, and it talks about the usage of hemp-derived CBD as, quote, a game changer that is pain and stress relief for seniors. So stocks for cannabis companies, Canopy Growth, Tilray, Kronos Group, they jumped in response to this. There is a cannabis, I'm just going to finish, there's a cannabis exchange fund, ETF, you know, an exchange-traded fund, and it soared because of this announcement. Now, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and didn't Trump indicate that Medicare would pay for your CBD treatments?
That's what he's saying. Well, he's saying that that's what he wants.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, if you go around the country, again, you see it even in our chat. It's medicinal only here. In California, of course, it's medicinal and recreational. It really depends where you are. Some places it's completely illegal. So
maybe he thinks that if he dopes America up enough, that's the only way that he would get elected in 2028, which is unconstitutional. But if America's all hopped up on whatever, you know.
Yeah, it would chill people out. That could be. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's a third term. It's fine.
Yeah.
Relax.
The North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has a wild, weird area of concentration right now. He is launching a harsh crackdown on women with what he calls capitalist breast implants.
Oh, my.
Kim Jong-un is said to be using undercover agents and neighborhood patrols to catch those carrying out and undergoing cosmetic procedures, and they face being sent to labor camps.
If you have fake boobs, you get sent to hard prison?
What? In one case, a doctor who performed breast augmentation surgery was put on trial along with 2 women who underwent the illegal procedure. The medical school dropout was said to be using silicone smuggled in from China in a procedure that was done at his home. The Cultural Hall in the Central District of Sarawak held a public trial for the doctor and for the women who received the operations. The trial is said to have caused quite a bit of backlash and talk and buzz. And they seized bundles of cash. They seized the doctor. And the doctor is said to have stood on stage with his head bowed for the entire time, while the 2 women in their 20s were also not allowed to raise their heads to show their faces. The women told the hearing they wanted to improve their figure with the procedure. Prosecutors said women living in a socialist system have been corrupted by bourgeois customs and have committed rotten capitalist acts. The judge was reported as promising strict punishment after saying the trio had taken part in an anti-socialist act.
I'm bad. I'm sorry.
You wonder
Pretty
if, really
brutal.
if that's their biggest problem is fake boobs, then what a great society they have.
Their biggest problem is that the population is starving. That's their biggest problem. Yeah. Several recent...
They can't leave. They can't go anywhere else. They have no freedom of speech. Well, neither do we now, I guess.
I've got a chunk of Trump and law and disorder. Before I get to it, just a couple of other things. And this, I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to. We just went through this and continue to go through it because we have a very sick little girl who doesn't realize she's sick yet. And I'm talking about our little cat, Cash. And several recent reports are pointing to a brutal reality that pets are expensive, and 1 in 5 pet owners are carrying at least $2,000 in pet debt. This is according to a survey of pet owners commissioned by MetLife Pet Insurance. And obviously, you can get insurance, but sometimes if you pencil out the insurance, it's not worth it. I mean, you have to, if your cat or dog is already old, they charge you a lot of money. I actually began it, and it was like really expensive just to carry the monthly insurance. And I thought, wow, after 10 months of this, I could pay for a lot of the stuff that the insurance is supposedly going to cover. Anyway, a lifetime cost of pet care has reached roughly $32,000 for a cat, $35,000 for a dog. Again, that's according to a recent report from Rover, which is a pet care marketplace. Nearly 1/4 of pet owners are worried about being priced out of pet ownership. That is according to a survey by LendingTree. So, the sad reality is 2/5 of owners say that the animal that is now their pet will be their last. So, what I would say to this, it's very funny that this story came across my desk, because I'll tell you that I, having just been through this extremely expensive medical procedure for Frenchie, who didn't survive it, and it was extremely expensive. I mean, like, holy cow, like that's what you pay for, a kid's tuition type thing. And you get, it's emotional, right? And you're told, and we cross-reference the fact that, meaning I talked to many vets. I talked to 4 vets about the realities concerning the procedure, the surgery, the survivability, the age of the cat, had them look at the labs, etc. So we had real hope. So when you're presented with real hope, but there is a brutal specter of going into debt to make this thing that is a member of your family, to extend her life and to make her healthy again, you're making an emotional decision. And I think when you make emotional decisions, sometimes you may not do it completely with the clarity that's required, or I think you kind of get what I'm saying. We spend a lot of money that we have to spend, we feel, in the moment. So leaving mine's an extreme example because it involved this expensive medical procedure, but just in the lead up to the medical procedure, and now with my little girl, Cash, just bringing her to the vet because she has end-stage kidney disease. So we have to monitor her blood levels, and there's a lot of diagnostic goes on. It's $1,000 every time we go to the vet.
Oh, man.
So we go into debt to pay for it, and you end up with you're putting stuff on a credit card, and then that credit card compounds. And it got me thinking. This is the part that was interesting, and I was thinking this already. I want to start, but it's just like I have to get the. There are a lot of things going on right now, but I really would like to start a fund. And I know that there's a, GoFundMe and all these other ways, but I'd really like to start a fund for people's veterinary costs. I see the veterinary world as so very expensive, and when you get into it, you just get roasted. And I don't know, do we have the doctor on? We're going to have a vet on in the next week or so, because there's a landmark piece of legislation that she spearheaded, and I want you to meet her. She's amazing. And she can speak frankly about the veterinary world, but most veterinarians will tell you, quite honestly, yeah, we were bought by the Mars company. A lot of vets like VCA and all of these different, look, I don't care where you are and who your vet is, wherever you are in America, whatever city, et cetera, unless it's a ma and pa kind of vet setup, I'll bet it's owned by a huge corporation. The Mars company owns most of them.
The candy company?
Yeah, the candy company, same company. And what you'll find is the same way private equity moves in and takes over a world, costs are high, and they begin to cut back on services. And that doesn't mean you're not getting good service wherever you are getting veterinary attention for your creature. And I don't know about you, but I like a relationship with the doctor, so I always try to go to the same doctor within the overall scheme of things. But all of that said, I wish, and something that I want to set up is a nonprofit to help with veterinary costs, so that we could get, petitions and those who need help. I mean, if Kim needed help for her dog, she could actually apply, and we could at least help her on some level with monies. It's going to take money to make that happen. I haven't even gotten it off the launch pad yet, so I'm not pitching for money. But what I am saying is I would feel so good about trying to get something like that together.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point of the story is more and more people feel like just priced out of even having a pet, which is a sad thing, because so many of these creatures, they need loving homes, so.
But you shouldn't take on the responsibility of an animal if you can't afford the care and upkeep of that animal. And I can tell you, even just buying dog food is so expensive.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. And that's the problem. People go, yeah, that's it. I don't want to be irresponsible, so I'm not going to have a dog.
Right.
Heather Kennedy says few vets are private practice anymore, going the same way as a human medicine. Yeah, big conglomerates, corporate systems. They don't have autonomy over pricing anymore. That's exactly right. And the difference is that, at least with the human system, some stuff's covered by insurance. Very little is covered. I mean, I don't really know. The pet insurance thing, many of you have had good luck with it, I'm sure, because I have people in my life who say, oh, you don't have pet insurance? We have pet insurance. I have 4 cats. Insuring all of them is tricky, and we just haven't, as I say, my one little run with it seemed very expensive. Eve says you could do a charity where it pays for the person to go to homes, and they do safe at home with the people, like a saint that comes to your house. It's a $450 to $600 commitment to do so. So you can do at home when that happens. Yeah, thank you, Eve. I think that that's true. Like some kind of service along those lines might be interesting to explore as well. I worry a bit about liability in that instance. You know what I mean? If something happens with the vet in the house, I don't know. It's complicated, as I say. But anyway, that's just a little bit kind of around the horn as we look at what's happening. But I did want to get to 2 things: Trump and law and disorder. And I'll do it in a moment. First, I'll ask you to smash the like button. It does help us. It's a weird thing. But if you hit the thumbs up when you're watching the YouTube video, regardless of when you're watching it or listening to it, it helps just keep us into the feed. When you hit a certain threshold, you show up in more feeds. That really helps us. So smash it like a boss.
With your iron rod.
Do it. It's free, and you'll feel better about yourself after you do it. So that's my my request for you. Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, without any further delay, I want to get into it. Where did you put the...
It's always I blame you.
Yeah,
it's always
I don't understand.
my fault.
I mean, why isn't
I blame you. Lord
I don't
have
understand
mercy.
why I can't find...
Are you looking for Chunk of Trump?
I'm looking for... I see Chunk of Trump, but I'm wondering why certain things aren't... I would put the Fed workers story in Chunk of Trump, too. Will you move that there?
God bless
I mean,
America.
we review this stuff. I mean, I don't know why I have to go through it again.
You know, they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
I have a meeting before the show. I kind of review things. And
Do you mean the federal workers story where they all got an email from Trump this morning blaming Democrats? Is that the one?
Exactly.
Oh.
I want that. Don't you think that should be in the Chunk of Trump? I
Yeah,
do.
sure. Why not?
All right, let's go. Of course, you've already done the story now. So, I mean, I don't know why you need to. By the way, Kim, before the end of the show, has a chit story from her own.
You do have a chitter,
yeah. And I'd also, I'd move the Hatch story down there too.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I'm just saying, look, these things fall into that category.
You just don't get it,
I don't think
you don't.
I guess I don't. All right, here's your Chunk of Trump.
Open wide. Ready? Here comes your Chunk of Trump.
It's my favorite food.
With your first bite, here's Mark Thompson.
I have a feeling it's going to be beautiful.
Federal agencies are blaming Democrats for the shutdown. It's more than just federal agencies. Clearly, there's a directive at federal agencies that's coming from on high to blame Democrats. I mean, again, it's the dirty liberal Democrats that are responsible for your shutdown. And if you go now to a government website, which we should do, Kim, can you go to a government website and show the boys and girls what you actually see? And what you see...
Yeah, special announcement.
What does it say?
It's a special announcement. This is I went to sba.gov, so the Small Business Administration. It says special announcement in blue. Senate Democrats, make sure you blame the Democrats in the open there, voted to block a clean federal health funding or clean federal funding bill leading to a government shutdown that is preventing the U.S. Business Administration, SBA, Small Business Administration, from serving America's 36 million small businesses. And it says every day that Senate Democrats continue to oppose a clean funding bill, they are stopping an estimated 320 small businesses from accessing $170 million in SBA guaranteed funding. As a result of the shutdown, we wanted to notify you that many of our services supporting small businesses are currently unavailable, blah, blah, blah. And this is every federal agency.
Right. If you go on any federal agency website.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's exactly it. And the reason it's significant is it's a violation of the Hatch Act. I mean, you can't use that platform to blame the Democrats. Yeah, you cannot do it. And so the idea is some of that, the radical liberals in Congress are attempting to shut down the government. They have crazy fantasy of open borders, transgender for everybody, men competing in women's sports. I mean, and by the way, that's not me making up a bunch of things. That's what it says.
The Hatch Act.
At the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. So if you go there, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about transgender, crazy fantasy of open borders. Tell everybody what the Hatch Act is again.
The Hatch Act is a U.S. federal law enacted in 1939 restricting the political activities of federal employees to ensure nonpartisan administration of government programs. The whole point of it is to protect federal employees from political coercion and to promote merit-based advancement in the workplace.
Now, here's why it's important, because you understand we fund those things that we just looked at. Those government websites are put up by our tax dollars. We support these organizations. And so for that reason, they cannot be used in this way to blame Democrats and essentially pursue a political agenda.
I blame
So
you.
when you impose on Democrats the blame for a government shutdown, you are in violation of the Hatch Act, and it's an abuse of government power.
But who's going to hold them accountable for that?
Exactly.
Good day, sir.
Right. But, you know, Kim's right. I mean, what does it actually mean if there's no cop on the beat and it's going to be ignored?
No. I mean, they just commandeered every single federal government agency website for a partisan message, a blaming message. And who's going to do anything about it? No one.
Meantime, a text message was captured by a photographer, and it is exactly what we talk about on the show week after week when it comes to tariffs. The tariff policy in America is insane. And this is Scott Bessent's phone, and we're showing it to you now. I'll read it, though, so you get some sense of it. The Treasury Secretary got a message during last week's United Nations General Assembly, and the message to Bessent is from someone whose initials, anyway, match those of Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins. The text references the Bessent Plan, which was announced the next day to all for the U.S. to send bailout money, really, $20 billion in bailout money to Argentina. Now, Argentina has this right-leaning president, and the economy in Argentina has been tanking, so the right-leaning president petitioned Trump, who again is representing this right-leaning administration, to be polite about it, to help out. And the American regime and administration said, yeah, we'll send you the money. So here is the way the money was used, and here is the text. Just a heads up, I'm getting more intel, but this is highly unfortunate. We bailed out Argentina yesterday, and in return, the Argentine government removed their export tariffs on grains, reducing their price, and sold a bunch of soybeans to China at a time when we would normally be selling to China. Soy prices dropping further because of it. This gives China more leverage on us. Along with this message, the text included a link to grain trader Ben Scholl's criticism of Bessent's intention to bail out Argentina. In fact, that grain trader actually says, I think you are stupid, when he's talking about Bessent. So this reminds me, the whole tariff policy reminds me, first of all, as an aside, before I get to what it reminds me of, it is what we talked about. It is flawed policy all over the place, and you're writing checks to everybody from domestic farmers of soybeans who've lost their market in China to an Argentinian government that needs a bailout, but has now used your bailout money to completely lift all kinds of restrictions on monies paid for their product, making it now wildly discounted, way more discounted than your product, and now they have bumped off the Americans in the soybean trade. So, and by the way, we talk about soybeans a lot. Just to let you know, you may say, well, you know, isn't beef and other stuff much more important or significant in terms of the amount of trading that's actually done? No. Soybeans are an immense product for the USA. Immense. Far outpacing beef and these other products. So now to the thing that it reminds me of. In the Middle Ages, was it, Kim, where they used to bleed people? Remember when people they felt, you know, you have evil spirits in you, and you need to be bled.
Yeah.
Right. So you bleed them out. They bring in some holy man, and he waves some stuff around, and they literally would bleed you off. So kings, queens, and princes, they would get the very best medical care at the time, and the very best medical care involved opening a vein and bleeding them out, which of course only made them what? More sick.
Yes.
I have a whole book on medical stuff from the Middle Ages and the evolution of medicine, and it's hilarious only because, in a way, because you had money as a king, queen, or prince, you had access to, quote, better medical care, so they could bring in the guy to bleed you, when actually that was the thing that was killing you. So it was a weird irony. But I mention it because the tariffs to me are like bleeding. You're bleeding out the American economy with these ridiculous tariffs, and then the mad king shows up, that's Trump, and he goes, hey, I got more tariffs, actually. I'm going to put tariffs on 100% on foreign films in Hollywood, on big trucks. It's like whatever he just decides to impose tariffs on, and you end up then with Scott Bessent, who is Secretary of the Treasury, having to go on the shows and somehow spin it, and it's getting harder and harder to do. And this Argentinian bailout is like the latest version of it. You send them $20 billion, and what do? They kneecap you in terms of your ability to access the markets. Your agricultural markets are now kneecapped by that $20 billion bailout that you sent to the Argentinians. Wild. Trump to American farmers, sorry, not sorry, says Harry Madden. Yeah, and the one thing that he's done, which we said he would do, is he's bailing out those farmers because he needs that constituency. All right. Also, this news. Trump now withdrawing his controversial BLS nominee, the E.J. Antoni. Remember, he was the Bureau of Labor Statistics is the BLS, just to remind you. And
when
he
the
is
lady
pulling...
lady was fired because they didn't like her numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
They wanted
I'm
their own
laughing because
numbers.
it's so absurd. She didn't put the numbers together. You got 40 statisticians who put the numbers together. The revisions are the way it's done. There might be problems with the way it's done, but she's not responsible for that.
Ma'am,
anyway,
this doesn't say what we wanted it to say. You're out.
So he brought in a true. He brought in a true MAGA. Devoted follower in this E.J. Antoni to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And apparently the nominee, who as the White House spokesperson said, is a brilliant economist and an American patriot and will continue to do the good work on behalf of our great country. There have to be reforms at BLS, and E.J. is the right man for the job. Well, what's happened to him now?
He's with the Heritage Foundation, right? And he is the guy who called Social Security a Ponzi scheme.
He authored part of Project 2025.
Yes.
Yes. So you can say what you want about Social Security, but it's not a Ponzi scheme. But more to the point, this guy, as we say, is if you haven't looked at what the Heritage Foundation really is, or what they are all about philosophically, you should. You should spend a second on it, because I think you'll find it to be this intense right-wing organization that is informed by this super extreme right-wing philosophy that you'll have a lot of problems with. Anyway, what's happened with him now is he's being withdrawn as a nominee. There was just so much noise around it. Wasn't that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess when you speak out against Social Security, that's still a rule. You know, I mean, we're seeing the lines being moved all over the place, but when you call Social Security a Ponzi scheme, maybe that's a bridge too far.
Yeah. And it also may be a reminder that sometimes if you squawk loud enough, you can influence public policy. And in this case, again, they found this radio interview in which he called it a Ponzi scheme, Social Security. So, you know, clearly that's something that's in the crosshairs for Project 2025. He was also in the crowd during January 6th. So I don't think that helped him either. I mean, again, they say he was just a bystander, but again, you know, wrong place, wrong time. I mean, you know,
Did they
why
say
you were, yeah.
he brought a gun to January 6th?
I didn't see that. Is that what, is that right?
I don't know. I have to look it up. I have to look it up.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
But let's go for it now, even though we don't know it.
Yeah. I thought you would know.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Well, I am.
But he's the guy we trust with the numbers.
Yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, Trump is getting roughed up by the judges who have cases before them. We'll get to that next. But that is your chunk of Trump.
That's it for this edition.
Well, I really enjoyed it.
But make sure to join us again next time
I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening.
for another chunk of Trump.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Trying to cover as much for you as I possibly can. I'll get to a message from Belinda in a moment. I just wanted to quickly get to some law and disorder. Can I do it, Albert? Is there time? Please say yes. I mean, it's rough. I mean,
yes.
Getting a lot of stuff, cramming a lot of stuff in, man.
This is
I'm
no
sorry, Mark.
picnic, no summer camp.
No, it's
No
not.
time, no.
Yeah, very, very tough.
Yeah.
But let me get it organized here on my magic device. And while I'm doing that, if you would please tell the boys and girls how they can support the show, if you would, please, Kim.
Well, you can click like and subscribe. You can share the show, and you can check out the website. It is got to put the in there, themarkthompsonshow.com is the website. And once you're there, you'll find the PayPal information and the Patreon information. And of course, as always, here on YouTube, the super chats and super stickers are live. It is a crowd-funded show, and we appreciate all the support.
Yes, indeed. You also find links to Patreon and PayPal under this video and all of our videos. So you can click on any of those. You go, hey, I really like that. I'll try to throw those guys a couple of bucks every month. That would really be helpful. I do have some new supporters that I want to recognize, and I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow, just because I'm mentioning it, Sarah Kenzior joins us on the show again, which is really like the greatest gift that we've gotten this year.
Yeah.
And what else
And
is tomorrow?
David Katz as well.
David Katz,
Mhm.
which is just the coolest. David Katz is, so strong, without peer. All right, for many years, Dem operatives have messaged to the party, if you're explaining, you are losing. Wrong. In 2025, Dems better be explaining and messaging, or MAGA will fill the void with lies, says CC Ryder. I do think you have to boil down the message. I'll give you just the example of what's happening now. I don't know if people really are aware of what's happening with the aspects of this government shutdown that have to do with policy, and if you get into too much policy wonk stuff, you'll end up losing the battle. I mean, so to your point on the adage of, if you're explaining, you're losing. I just think you have to find a way to message effectively. It's weird how the Republicans always go back to trans, woke, DEI. I mean, it's weird how often. Did you see how often yesterday in that bizarre television program that was set up so that admirals and generals would be in the audience and they could parade around stage, both Hegseth and Trump, decrying wokeism, talking about how we're going to make the military tougher, more brutal. Did you see, by the way, that it was referenced boot camp sergeants who haven't been able to touch the enlistees now under new Hegseth DOD policy will be able to touch the enlistees. Yeah, you can beat up on the enlistees in effect. How he also was talking about the fact that, there'll be no more complaining if you
quit your whining.
If you launch a complaint of any kind, an official complaint, a legal complaint.
Yeah.
If it's not found to have merit right away, you will be held liable, you yourself. They're trying to silence a group of people that can oftentimes be victimized by a system with a hierarchy that doesn't allow them to speak out. Ask women in the military about this. In the area of sexual assault, it's serious. Oftentimes your sexual assaulter is your supervisor. So you end up in this awful place now as the head of the DOD, Pete Hegseth, he himself accused of sexual assault, having settled that case or paid off that one woman. So all I'm saying is you have a troubled agency led by an even more troubled appointee, who of course is now DOD head. The generals just seemed like they were staring in shock, says E. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of them. I mean, I'm guessing that a large number of them look askance at a lot of what they were dealing with, especially as he kind of, if I just would say this, and I'm going to digress on this, but sort of craps all over everything that they have done, like the existing military. It's kind of like, I just got here an hour ago, and sure, there's a lot of stuff that I think is laudable about the military, but let's face it, you guys are all soft and fat. We're going to make you all get out there and do push-ups. Hey, dude, it's not about that. These are brilliant people of public service, generals, admirals. They're strategists, they're managers, they're administrators. They know how to get together a fighting force, to manage technology. As I say, that's the real challenge. You should be worrying about cyber challenges to America's security. You shouldn't be worried about running calisthenics. Well, I didn't see enough of you running backward this morning at PT. It's ridiculous. It's an absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if the judges or the general's 300 pounds, 400 pounds. Doesn't matter. It's about what's here in the cranium. It was the oddest flex. It was all a performative flex, and it was offensive.
This was something I thought, and I haven't heard you say it. Maybe someone has said it, but it just seems like, as you say, performative. So they get everybody to do this big dog and pony show, and they bring together all of America's top military leaders. What logistically does that make sense to do that? Not only is it expensive, but what a time for some horrible person to attack America when one fell swoop could take out every top military leader we have. Did anyone think about that?
No, we've talked about that actually for the last couple of days. Albert, do you think that Kim does not listen to
I wasn't paying
she
attention.
doesn't listen to the goddamn show? I've made that point about getting everybody to one place and about the security risk.
I blame you.
I don't think Kim. I don't know if you've mentioned this or not, but I'm just. I was just thinking about having all those people in one place.
Kim, how are you?
I just can't believe it, Kim. Where have you
Maybe
been?
I heard you
I've been talking about that very thing.
Why are you yelling?
I can't believe it, Albert. It's outrageous. You see what I deal with, Albert?
They do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it
When
for.
you're not here, Albert, something happens. Kim checks out. She just literally doesn't. She just Mark's talking. Blah blah blah. When do I get a chance to talk? My God.
Mark, I'm not sure if you're aware of that. It's kind of dangerous. It's kind of dangerous when all the leaders get together.
Right. That's
just an observation I made.
Wait a minute. Albert's making a very good point. Hold on a second. What are you saying?
Such good thinking. Good idea.
Albert's making a very good point.
It's a waste of our taxpayer dollars for all of the important people just to gather for something that could have been spread on it.
So wait a minute, Albert, but you made a point about the security issues. You're saying if you bring all those people in from all over the world, I don't think that point's been made on this show before.
No. Especially for all the leaders.
All the leaders, right?
We could be at risk.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, very good. I'm sure glad that
all the leaders get together.
You guys really make sure we got that.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Here it is. Law and disorder.
In the criminal justice system, the people,
Pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care,
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law. You're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
Sometimes court is a bitch, and in this case, the judge issues a blistering opinion against Donald Trump policy of deporting pro-Palestinian students. Judge ruling that non-citizens have the same free speech rights as U.S. citizens under the First Amendment. This is a federal judge ruling that the Trump administration's policy of detaining and deporting foreign scholars over their pro-Palestinian views violates the U.S. Constitution. And it was intentionally designed to chill free speech rights. The case was brought by the National American Association of University Professors, AAUP. It's Harvard, Rutgers, New York University chapters, and the Middle East Studies Association, all who came together following the arrest and detention of several non-citizen students and scholars who've spoken out for Palestinian rights. It was a 161-page ruling issued just late yesterday, William G. Young, he's a Ronald Reagan appointee.
God,
He
must
called
be
the
really
case.
old. How old is that guy?
He called the case perhaps the most important ever to fall within the jurisdiction of his court. This case squarely presents, this is from his ruling, this case squarely presents the issue whether non-citizens lawfully present here in the United States actually have the same free speech rights as the rest of us. The court answers this constitutional question unequivocally. Yes, they do. No law means no law, a reference to the First Amendment stipulation that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. No one's freedom of speech is unlimited, of course, but these limits are the same for both citizens and non-citizens alike, the judge wrote. They were accused, the government was, of running an illegal ideological deportation policy. That's what was being argued by that consortium of academics and activists that I mentioned. That's because of the 2 executive orders in January targeting non-citizens who, quote, espouse hateful ideology. The government said no such policy existed. They said in court filings it was the product of the plaintiff's imagination, and that officials had made determinations about each individual on a case-by-case basis. They also said, this is the government, that they claim the authority to deport non-citizens who have committed no crimes, but whose presence it deems poses a threat to U.S. foreign policy. So the judgment's important, and during the trial, the government tried to block the release of a lot of documents detailing their processes and reasons for revoking student visas. And several State Department officials testified in court that they've been instructed by higher-ups to compile allegations about the individuals targeted. They even relied on dossiers from the right-wing Canary Mission, which is a secretive pro-Israel group dedicated to doxing thousands of those pro-Palestinian scholars. The case was filed in March, went to trial in July, and during the 2 weeks of testimony, both citizen and non-citizen scholars spoke of the chilling effect caused on campuses across the country. But this Reagan-appointed federal judge now ruling against the Trump administration and the government in favor of the dissenting voices on campus. A judge has suspended Trump's plan to eliminate hundreds of Voice of America jobs. The Voice of America, as you know, is one of the substantial ways in which many American cultural voices are heard across the globe. And a federal judge is agreeing to temporarily suspend the administration plan to eliminate hundreds of jobs at the agency that oversees VOA, Voice of America. I mean, originally it was formed, VOA, to counter Nazi propaganda during World War II, but it's existed as a pretty robust media arm of the U.S., not an expensive part of the government particularly, but it was, again, in the huge Doge cuts. They took a chainsaw to that as well.
Isn't it
U.S. District
Carrie Lake? That right?
Yeah, Carrie Lake seemed to relish the opportunity to eliminate 532 jobs, and they are saying, the judge is, Judge Royce Lamberth in Washington, that they cannot, Carrie Lake and her agency, implement this reduction in force, eliminating 532 jobs for full-time government employees. So she, having announced the job cuts, is now going to have to reverse field. Lamberth, the judge, also previously ruled that President Trump's Republican administration must restore VOA programming to levels commensurate with its statutory mandate to serve as consistently reliable and authoritative sources of news. He even blocked Carrie Lake from removing Michael Abramowitz as VOA's director. So it was a pretty broad judgment made. VOA lives on. James Comey, The case jeopardizes Americans' free speech rights, says this retired judge, and more retired judges like him, 42 of them, in fact, wrote an open letter. In the letter, former federal and state judges warned that the rights and liberties of every American are in grave danger. This is a quote from the letter, obviously. As President Donald Trump continues to corruptly abuse the power of his office by directing the United States Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to target his critics and his perceived political enemies for investigation and criminal prosecution. All Americans have an obligation as citizens of this great country to speak out against this unprecedented attack on our freedom of speech and to demand that Donald Trump's attacks on our right to speak freely without fear of being persecuted and prosecuted by our government must stop now. Again, it's a mix of retired federal and state level judges, 10 of whom were either appointed by Republicans or elected Republicans. So the law is beginning to take stock of what's happening and finally beginning to clap back a bit. And it's SCOTUS that broke back on Donald Trump most recently. I believe that decision was just handed down, wasn't it, Kim? On his controversial firing or attempted firing of the Fed governor. Is Kim still with the show?
I am. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Lisa Cook?
Yes, of course. That's Lisa Cook who I'm talking about. Tell us that story.
I don't have the story.
What?
Well, Lisa Cook, the Fed governor, she was suing to get her job back.
The Supreme Court blocked Trump from firing her, and that happened today, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Is that the reason we don't have it? Because it happened today?
Yeah, it's really. Yeah, we only do yesterday's news here.
Well,
on
I
the
just don't know
Thompson
why
show.
it's not in the show, Kim. That's all I'm trying to say.
All right.
Oh, I thought we talked about it before. Again, at the meeting, we're going to have a longer meeting.
They do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
The Supreme Court saying that it's true, it just happened, that Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook can remain in her job for now, announcing it will take up this case over President Donald Trump's attempt to remove her from the central bank. The court will hear arguments in the case in January, and its temporary ruling will last until then, they're saying. Lower courts allowed Cook to keep her position. The Trump administration had asked the high court to overturn those decisions and allow Trump to remove Cook immediately. The high court decision to hear the case sets up a showdown over the independence of the central bank, which, of course, setting interest rates that Trump isn't always happy with. And they're setting those rates to essentially to tame inflation and to manage sort of monetary policy. The case could have major ramifications for businesses and consumers. And this provisional ruling will allow Cook to keep her job, and it will signal, at least from some of the justices, a hesitation regarding executive power and the president's aggressive campaign to oust a federal governor and gain tighter control over the Fed. It is a significant decision.
Yeah. And I don't know what Katsadamas said about it, but we'll ask him about it tomorrow.
Yeah, very good. Exactly. Former federal prosecutor David Katz will comment. That is Law and Disorder.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out there.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I want to get right to it. On Wednesdays, we check in with our eco-journalist. She's Belinda Waymouth, and normally we have a conversation about any number of things that are affecting the environment, toxins, poisons, environmental policy, rollback on EPA protections, whatever it might be. Alternative energy. She's on the road, right, Kim? She's
Yeah. She's in last check, she was in Colorado.
So she's kind of filing a travel log of sorts, but it relates to the environment, of course. We do it in a segment we call It's the Planet, Stupid.
The planet Earth.
Some call me nature. I am very passionate about the planet.
A living, breathing planet capable of sustaining whatever life forms we see fit to deposit on it.
Spock, judging by the pollution content of the atmosphere, I believe we have arrived.
It's the planet stupid.
No. It's the planet, stupid.
And Albert, if you will share with us her latest offering. This is our darling Belinda Waymouth on the road.
We're in the Rocky Mountains between Ouray and Silverton. We took a side road and here we are. So we're at 10,600 plus feet. That's Mount Beatty, and it is 13 plus thousand feet. And these are beaver dams right here. Is this wild enough for you, Kim? So 1 beaver dam, 2, 3, 4. There's a beaver hut in the background. I haven't seen any beavers. There was some noise last night outside of the camper. It wasn't anything big. It was not a bear. Maybe little beavers, I don't know. But we'd love to see a beaver. There are apparently moose. And when we see them, I promise it's the Planet Stupid. I'm going to film them for you, okay? Beaver Dam in action. Look how crystal clear, gorgeous the water is up here in the Rockies. Yeah, the planet. She's amazing.
We did not find any moose, but here are some beautiful Colorado vistas from the $1 Million Highway. Pretty spectacular, right? And here is me making my way underneath the Bridal Veil Falls. This is just outside Telluride. These falls are 365 feet top to bottom. Yeah, it's totally for the photo opportunity. I admit it. There they are, gorgeous.
Is wonderful. That may be my favorite travelogue moment that she gave us.
She just gets so excited when she's out in the nature. I love it.
Who can't be excited? It's really special. I mean, Albert, we can stitch those together, maybe her different videos, and we can post them all as one, do you think?
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
All right. That would be really cool, because I think that they kind of all do hang together. Maybe I'll throw
Albert, thank you.
I'll throw some kind of intro on the front end or something, and we can do it. We'll drop it on the weekend. She comes back live next week, Kim?
I'm not sure exactly. She might be
Kim,
gone for
do you
one
know
more week.
anything today about anything?
Kim, how are you?
I mean, I just
stop caring. I'm
This is Casey Kasem in Hollywood.
They do it all the time, Jimmy. Where are those photos?
And I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week.
I mean, I can't get anything around here.
They do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So we don't know whether she'll be back or not, is the reality.
She'll be back soon. She is coming back.
It's the Planet Stupid for today.
More.
It's the Planet Stupid.
No. It's the planet, stupid. Next time, only on the Mark Thompson Show.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, with that, I will tell you that we have
the Mark Thompson Show.
I don't know that we saved the universe today. We tried to do a lot. We certainly did a lot. I have some things that I can bump to tomorrow. We have some definite follow-up with the legal ramifications of many things that are going on that we can share with David Katz for tomorrow. Anybody see the Kimmel Colbert stuff last night?
That was great.
It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good. And I have to say, I watch a lot of Kimmel, and I haven't watched as much Colbert. I mean, I always like Colbert, but I kind of am a Kimmel guy.
Yeah.
And I now remember how great Colbert is. I felt bad, actually, for having not watched more Colbert, especially since he's an endangered species. You know, he's going away at the end of, I guess, in May. So anyway, I have to now begin to check out both of them. But I just adore Jimmy, and he's become this treasure. But both these guys, the comedians, are these late night comedians are the treasures that really do reflect so much of society. And if you go back, not to be too heavy, but if you go back to World War II and the rise of the Third Reich, they got rid of the comedians. It was a specific thing. It was, check it out. Goebbels got rid of the comedians. So getting rid of the comedians, as this administration is doing, is, I'm just saying, has an echo of history to it. That's all. Quickly, let's get to some comments. I'm let me just see here. Chaplain Fred. Well, I mean, anything that says question to Mr. Rothman, and Mr. Rothman's not anymore. Anymore.
That one came a little late. Sorry,
Oh, did
Chaplain.
it? Okay.
11:57. We are already wrapping up with.
Oh, okay.
John.
So
at that time.
thank you. I don't have to. What was the question? Maybe I'll. Oh, what?
What can?
I mean,
why?
the
can
guy
Trump
did spend
remove
$10. I
Nation
just
is
want.
under siege. What can we do? That type of thing.
Why can Trump be? Why can Trump be removed if the nation is under siege? What can we do? Just brace and hope that the Trump storm passes. The aftermath will be devastating. Well, no, I think it's more than hoping, but there are a limited number of levers. But I do think making noise is a. Look, the Peacefully Resist shirt that I'm wearing. I encourage you all to get one at getmarkmerch.com. The peace, and you don't have to get a shirt, but if you are going to, the No Kings protests or whatever, why not? Wear the Peacefully Resist t-shirt. Our logo is very tastefully across the top of the back, so you don't have to, you're not repping it in some, NASCAR jacket kind of way. And you can get that all at getmarkmerch.com. But my point in mentioning that alongside peaceful resistance is that the more we talk about it, the more it gets out there into the zeitgeist, it does matter. And it can affect change. So if Donald Trump was already shutting down government, example, Department of Education, this shutdown does what? Seems like it just expedites what was already in motion, says Luis. So thank you for the $5 super chat. This was the argument against closing the government down, what Luis has just said, that it only helps them dismantle the government more. It's what Russell Vogt said, who runs the Office of Management and Budget. He's the Heritage Foundation toady, who they put in there. He authored most of Project 2025. And he's saying, great, shut down government. I'm going to furlough 750,000 people, only I'm not going to just furlough them, I'm going to fire them. So that was the problem that the Democrats faced. But what's happening in government now is the wanton destruction of many programs that are critical to Americans. And the subsidies associated with the ACA, the Obamacare supports, they are going away. And the idea that you could somehow tacitly approve it puts you in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So damned if you do keep the doors of the government open, because this government, they're not honest brokers, as we were discussing yesterday. They'll tell you that they'll appropriate money, and then they'll claw it back. They're doing that now. This is an extraordinary thing that's happening. Money's being appropriated for any number of programs, and then it's being clawed back. They've successfully done this now. The rescission, you'll hear that word a lot. That's what that is. It's taking the money back that was already appropriated for fill in the blank. In this case, it might be subsidies to Medicaid. Joe Grayson says, what happens if someone violates the Hatch Act? A strongly worded letter? Exactly. I mean, we're finding out that these violations of law, the Hatch Act, again, using these government websites and government platforms to decry Democratic leadership, to basically campaign against Democrats, that's a violation of the law. But if there's no cop on the beat, I mean, inspector generals have been fired, the Justice Department has been taken over by loyalists, so you tell me. Richard Delamater, I love the super chat donation method because I can say zany things and Mark has to read them. Free speech, bees. Richard just sent me a tie-dye shirt.
Oh, that's nice.
It was very nice, and I'll show it to you all tomorrow.
Does it say anything, or is it just a really
no, it
brightly
does not.
colored?
It's just a pure throwback kind of shirt, which is pretty cool. Cousin Erie says, Sergeant Friday, sir, do you realize this woman has no address? Man, I don't care. Sergeant Friday, that's it. You're both going in.
Yep.
The Dems are on the wrong side of this shutdown, says Randy, and or haven't been able to effectively communicate their issue. I blame Schumer and Jeffries for the lack of effective communication. I mean, and the other thing that's happening is you've got, the Trump crew, which is putting up these ridiculous parody. I mean, this is a pretty serious thing. People are losing their job. People are losing their paychecks. You've got a bunch of people, federal government employees who are considered essential workers, TSA, et cetera. You've heard about it. And they are now going to be going to work, and they're not going to be getting paychecks. There'll also be a lot of people calling in sick because they don't have childcare money anymore to pay for childcare. So now there's just no way to watch the kids except me staying home. So I got to call in sick. So it's really serious. And then for them to have, this kind of, the Mexican hat with the, the mustache thing, man, I just thought it was like, really, guys, that's what you're doing? And you got the president of the United States putting that on his social media platform. The president of the United States. I mean, just the degrading of the discourse is so complete. It should be embarrassing. I mean, isn't the party, the GOP, ashamed of that? Aren't they ashamed? I mean, there should be shame with that. There should be embarrassment with that. Instead, it's like business as usual. That's the Democrats. They don't want to go. Hey, dude, did you see what your guy put up on social media? Do you see what he's saying? How dare you ignore it? It's despicable. It's grotesque. It's shameful. And you ought to own it. Because that's the guy that you all bow at the waist to. Mark is making coffee now, I think. Oh, that was before came in before the. Is it 2 years we've been hanging out together? Asked Ricky O'Bear.
I think it's 3.
October is my birth month, so I celebrate all month. But I remember KGO going dark right around the 17th. It's still here. Yeah, it's this is the 3rd year. We'll be finishing our 3rd year. Happy Vegetarian Day. Is it Vegetarian Day?
Oh.
Albert, can you check to see if it's Vegetarian Day? I didn't realize. So it's International Coffee Day.
It's Pumpkin Spice Day.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
But I didn't know it was Vegetarian Day.
It is also, yes, World Vegetarian Day is what they're calling it.
Smash it with your iron
Yeah,
rod.
smash it for World Vegetarian Day. Thank you, Albert.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am. I'm a vegan. I don't like to hit you over the head with it, but that's kind of like up the ante on vegetarian. But I will tell you that mad respect for anybody who goes vegetarian. Come on over. You'll love it. Whole world of food that is so delicious and doesn't involve the cruelty of any kind to any creatures. It's pretty terrific. So shout out to the veggie heads in the crowd. But we love you no matter what. And I will have news of a very special event coming up. I might have that news tomorrow, actually. But we have a major meetup. And, well, I can't really say much more than that, right, Kim?
I think the big announcement comes tomorrow.
The big announcement comes tomorrow. We'll have a date, and you got plenty of time to sign up. So
tomorrow, Sarah Penzier and David Katz on the show.
Yeah, baby, come on. Bring in the heat on a Thursday. Albert, you're going to have to really be focused tomorrow. You can't sleepwalk through the show the way Kim has the last couple of days.
Kim, how are you?
I am just saying you're going to have to lock in, all right? I want you there. All right, thanks everybody for joining us today. We will be here tomorrow and every day, and until then, the great Shadow.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Kim, I love you. Albert, I love you. I love all the boys and girls out of time. Bye-bye.